The anticipation surrounding the next chapter of the Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner rivalry has been building steadily, carried by the electric excitement that always emerges when two of the sport's most gifted young athletes prepare to meet again. As their exhibition clash in Korea approaches, both stars have opened up about what it truly feels like to stand on the opposite side of the net from someone who has become both a mirror and a measuring stick, a rival who pushes them into athletic territories they might never reach alone. Their upcoming meeting, scheduled as part of the Hyundai Card Super Match in Incheon on January 10th, will serve as the spectators' first glimpse of these two fierce competitors in the 2026 season, arriving just days before the Australian Open begins in mid-January. Tennis fans already understand the importance of every showdown between these two, even when the match is technically an exhibition, because every time they collide, intensity eclipses the setting. Their exhibitions have turned into their own parallel saga. This will mark the third consecutive year in which Sinner and Alcaraz step onto an exhibition stage together, following their high-profile showdowns in the Six Kings Slam finals in 2024 and 2025. Even in matches meant for entertainment, neither of them has ever treated the moment lightly. The reason is simple. When they play, something inside both competitors ignites. Rivalries of this magnitude do not allow diluted effort. They carry a history of world-class rallies, tactical adjustments, emotional battles, and evolving identities as players. Statistics only tell part of the story, yet they remain impossible to ignore. The official head-to-head remains in Alcaraz's favor at 10 wins to Sinner's 6, showing a slight but meaningful advantage. Their performances in the 2025 season against each other demonstrate how tightly contested their battles have become. 6 times they met in official competition that year, and 4 of those matches went Alcaraz's way. The Italian gained his own share of iconic victories, including a Wimbledon title match played with poise and authority and a triumphant run at the ATP Finals. Spectators have already memorized the scorelines from their stretch of 2025 meetings, each one adding something new to the myth of their growing rivalry. The Italian Open final showcased Alcaraz's tactical clarity as he pushed through a tight first-set tiebreak before accelerating mercilessly in the second set. The confrontation that followed at Roland Garros became one of the most dramatic matches ever played between them, unfolding over almost 5 sets of physical and emotional endurance. Alcaraz appeared cornered after dropping the first 2 sets, yet managed to claw his way back with a blend of resilience and explosive creativity, eventually closing the match with 2 nail-biting tiebreaks. Their Wimbledon meeting flipped the script as Sinner, focused and unshakable, controlled the grass with a maturity that matched his power. Their Cincinnati final ended abruptly after Sinner was forced to retire, a moment that left spectators wondering how the match might have unfolded otherwise. The U.S. Open final moved back into Alcaraz's hands as he handled the shifting rhythm of the match with precision. Their final clash of the season at the ATP Finals brought Sinner another victory as he closed the year with a composed and disciplined performance. Their rivalry has grown so rich that each encounter feels like another entry in a long, layered novel. Their contrasting styles, shared athleticism, and emotional transparency have turned each duel into an irresistible spectacle. For this reason, their reflections on playing each other reveal more than promotional comments. They reveal the personal stakes behind the matches, even the exhibition ones. Carlos Alcaraz addressed the upcoming meeting with a sense of realism shaped by years of battles against Sinner. He acknowledged how long their paths have intertwined, stretching back to their teenage years on junior circuits. As Alcaraz explained, competing against someone who has risen through the ranks alongside him creates a unique kind of understanding. Both players know each other's strengths, tendencies, and instinctive reactions with exceptional clarity. That familiarity erases any possibility of hiding weaknesses or disguising intentions. Matches between them strip the game down to raw ability and mental sharpness. Alcaraz emphasized how Sinner has developed into an almost complete player, someone who approaches the sport with very few gaps in his arsenal. He spoke about the extraordinary balance Sinner possesses: blistering offense, reliable defense, and movement that stretches across the court with startling speed. According to Alcaraz, Sinner's performance in the 2025 season proved just how high his level has become. The Italian's 2 Grand Slam titles, his season-long battle for the world #1 ranking, and his victory at the year-ending ATP Finals represent achievements that cannot be ignored. These performances forced every top player, including Alcaraz himself, to continuously evolve. Throughout the interview, Alcaraz spoke about what it truly demands to defeat someone like Sinner. He described the enormous concentration required, explaining that a single moment of carelessness can unravel an entire match. Because Sinner rarely gives free points or drops intensity, there is never a safe moment. Alcaraz made it clear that competing well is not enough. Victory requires an almost perfect effort. He admitted openly that the opponent across the net pushes him into giving everything he has from the first point to the final one, leaving no room for hesitation or inconsistency. His words reflected both respect and self-awareness. Every time he prepares to face Sinner, he knows the match will not simply test his tennis skills. It will test everything else: his patience, his strategic discipline, his willingness to take risks, and his emotional endurance. Their rivalry has become a constant source of motivation, drawing the best out of him whether they meet in a Grand Slam final or a preseason exhibition. Their exposure to each other's strengths has created a tension where winning requires solving a puzzle that constantly changes. Jannik Sinner shared equally thoughtful reflections on facing Alcaraz, reinforcing the idea that their dynamic is built on mutual admiration as much as competition. He described Alcaraz as one of the strongest players in the world, and perhaps even the most formidable presence on the current tennis landscape. Each time they face one another, the Italian experiences the same mix of pressure and excitement, recognizing that few matches offer the same intensity, speed, and unpredictability. According to Sinner, playing Alcaraz is never routine because every meeting develops its own identity, its own rhythm, and its own emotional trajectory. He spoke about Alcaraz's extraordinary quickness, explaining how difficult it becomes to overpower someone who covers every inch of the court with explosive energy. Whenever Sinner attempts to take control of a point, Alcaraz's speed and agility force him to think creatively, altering his shot selection and constructing new patterns mid-rally. This dynamic creates matches filled with tactical layers. Both players adjust constantly, pushing their creativity to its limit. Sinner noted that this constant adaptation transforms every rally into a fresh challenge, forcing him to remain mentally flexible. Another key quality Sinner highlighted was Alcaraz's mental strength, which continues to stand out even among elite athletes. He described how Alcaraz approaches every point with the same determination, whether it occurs at the beginning of a match or during its most decisive moments. This consistency puts enormous pressure on any opponent, making it necessary to maintain the same level of focus from start to finish. Sinner acknowledged that his biggest challenges always arise when he senses that Alcaraz refuses to let the match breathe. Every point becomes a battle, and every opportunity must be earned. Through both players' words, the essence of their rivalry becomes even more vivid. Their comments illustrate why fans feel such anticipation every time their names appear on the same match sheet. They do not simply play tennis against each other. They challenge each other's identities as competitors. Together, they represent a new era defined by athletic brilliance and emotional honesty, an era where every match feels larger than the moment that hosts it. Their exhibition meeting in Korea will carry that same weight, even though trophies and rankings are not involved. Matches like this serve a deeper purpose for them. They provide a stage where old lessons meet new strategies. They offer a testing ground for adjustments made in the off-season. They open the door for another emotional and competitive memory that will contribute to the expanding mythology of their rivalry. Fans watching in Incheon will witness far more than a simple warm-up for the Australian Open. They will watch two players who, despite being so young, have already carved out a place in history. The tennis world has seen great rivalries before, but the Alcaraz-Sinner dynamic carries a freshness that feels especially magnetic. Their youth, their intensity, their mutual respect, and their willingness to raise the standard of the sport every time they meet combine to create something entirely unique. Their journeys have only just begun, yet every encounter feels momentous. This early season match in Korea will add another chapter to a story that continues to deepen with every year that passes. Spectators around the world are already waiting to see what level they bring to the court this time, knowing that whenever these two collide, something unforgettable usually unfolds.